And we're here, I've come from California, we're on the east coast of South Korea, which is really kind of interesting for me. I've never been to this area before, and it's very beautiful, very mountainous, there's a beach. It's almost the California of South Korea. I'm really excited about this one. We did a great trip to the market this morning. We bought a gorgeous octopus, which is too bad because I know we don't have them in California. We're using local strawberries from the east coast of Korea. It's perfectly in season.
I'm going to try to say one word in Korean.
Carrot and the red onion.
After that is butter.
Hi, my name is Janet Arellano. I represent the California Milk Advisory Board, an organization that represents all the dairy farmers from the state of California. We are the largest dairy producing state in the United States. So the California Milk Advisory Board, the way that we work with our dairy farmers in overseas, it's by us implementing marketing assistance with other partners, whether that is in a specific market, a region, etc. And we do this so that we can create demand for the California milk dairy products, for products produced in the state of California. So that's our major focus. At the end of the day, we're really here to help our dairy farmers continue to grow their product and production and create more demand overseas. So consumers can easily identify our products at the Korean retail stores by looking for the Real California Milk seal. And this, what it does is it guarantees the high quality products produced in the state of California by California dairy farmers. So next time you're in the supermarket, please don't forget to look for the seal, the Real California Milk seal.
Well, today we're making a really fun item. We're making Kangnam-style potato focaccia with our local potatoes here in this beautiful East Coast, Korea. And we're going to combine that with California cheese. So this is going to be a really special dish. Very simply, we're going to put some water in the bowl. And I'm using this beautiful piece of Korean pottery. And here I have a biga that I created last night. And then we're going to mix in, and you don't have to be very picky about this. You just kind of mix it lightly. Nothing special. We're going to add our yeast. And we're going to add some of these beautiful Kangnam potatoes. So we're just going to put those in. The thing about these potatoes that's really great is they are a waxy potato, but they're going to add a lot of moisture to our focaccia. And that's going to make our focaccia super tender, super tasty, and it's also going to help the rise of the focaccia because of the sugars that are in the potato. So we're now going to add our flour, and I always leave a little bit of the flour out. We don't know if we need all of it. So I'm going to just start to stir that together. At this point, before I've fully mixed it, I'm actually just going to let it sit for 5 minutes. We're just going to leave it to sit for 5 minutes, cover it with a cloth, and allow those molecules of flour to expand within the water and let it all just start to become a dough. We're going to come back in 5 minutes and we're going to continue mixing it. 5 minutes have gone by and you can see that it's already starting to absorb all of the liquid. So at this point, we're going to add some salt. And we're going to add our olive oil. This is California olive oil, and we're just going to add that in, and we're going to stir it together. At this point, I need to make a decision about how wet to keep this dough. And I want this dough to be very wet. I shouldn't be able to mix it with my fingers at all into a solid mass. What I want to see is thicker than a pancake dough, but not as thick as a bread dough. So I am going to need to add more of this flour. And I'll add it just a little at a time to see that the dough is coming together. I can smell it already. I can smell those potatoes in there. I can smell the olive oil. Monterey-Jack from California is our oldest cheese in California. It's from the early 1800s, and it's one of the originals, and it's still being made in California. We use it for everything from pizzas to bread dough to sandwiches. It's probably our most versatile cheese. And it's called California Monterey-Jack. So as you can see now, the dough's coming together. At this point, when you're at home and you're making this, you may want to get your hands in there. It can be very relaxing. And as soon as the dough comes into as you can see, a kind of a solid mass, but it's still not able to be kneaded as a solid round bread dough. That's exactly where we want it. So it takes a little bit of muscle power to get that mixed together. And at that stage, we're going to leave this dough, we're going to cover it with some plastic wrap, and we're going to leave the dough to rise for about an hour and a half until it's nice and puffy, and then we're going to move it to the pans. So as you can see here, the focaccia dough has been sitting at room temperature for approximately 1.5 hours, and it's nicely puffed up and ready to go. What I'm going to do is add some olive oil to my pan, a generous amount of olive oil, and I'm going to make sure that that is in all the corners of my pan. So you can spread it in with your hand, or you can spread it in with a spatula. Either way works. And then we're ready to pour our dough into the pan. So I'm going to pour about half of my dough in here. And that, at which stage I'm going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil on the top. And now I am going to use my hand to press the dough just really gently into the sides of the pan. And it's okay if some olive oil comes up and over the edge of your dough. Don't be too picky. All we're trying to do is get that dough into the edges of our pan. So I'm just poking it down, showing it who's boss, getting it right into the edges of the pan. And then I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap, and I'm going to put it in the fridge overnight. So we'll just cover it with plastic wrap, and then we'll take it to the fridge. Today we're making a delicious olive oil dip to go with our potato focaccia. We made a potato focaccia using local potatoes, and we're going to make this really delicious, super simple dip that's easy to do at home, that you can take to a party, and you can literally just dip that fresh focaccia in there, and it's super delicious. So we have a little bit of chopping to do, and first we're going to take some good quality California olive oil, and we're just going to put that right in the bottom of our bowl. And I'm going to also add, and I have some California balsamic, but you can use balsamic from anywhere, and I'm just going to add that balsamic vinegar so that we have a nice acidic flavor profile. All right, let's chop some ingredients, and these can really vary depending on what it is that you are looking to achieve or what you have in your fridge. So I'm going to do some sun-dried tomato today, some sun-dried tomato. I'm going to do some green olives. These are Castelvetrano olives, but they can be any type of olive that you choose. And you can chop them pretty roughly. They don't need to be pretty. It can be just a very simple chop. These are Calamatas, but any black olives will work. And I have some really delicious Calabrian chilies here. So I just like to slice those. That way people can avoid them if they don't want something spicy, or if they're looking for spice, they can go right in for those Calabrian chilies. And they add a nice pop of color, and they're very beautiful, pretty, and at the same time, nice and spicy, and just add a little bit of spice to that. Okay, so we're also gonna add some local herbs. This is a Korean parsley. And then, of course, we're gonna add the star of the show, our cheese. And we have this delicious cheese today. This is a point raised toma with Provençal herbs. So it's our Toma Provence. And I'm pretty excited to use this one. I think you're gonna love it. It's got a lot of dried herbs in there. We have some fresh herbs in the olive oil dip, and then we'll have these delicious dried herbs in our Toma Provence, the Provençal herbs. And I'm just going to cut that cheese into some small cubes, and we'll add that right to our cheese dip. So we've got a beautiful combination here of olive oil, balsamic vinegar, cheese, sun-dried tomatoes, and the Calabrian chilies. And I think that that combination of all of those ingredients are going to really add a delightful sampling of taste to our dish. We'll put a little bit of a sprinkle of salt on top just to pick up the flavors of the balsamic and the olive oil. And so simple. This is something you can do in just a few moments at home, and we're going to serve that with a delicious focaccia. And now to finish this dish, we're going to add a really delicious roasted garlic. So we did a really simple way of roasting the garlic. I cut the top off the garlic and placed it in a tinfoil lined pan. A little bit of water, salt and pepper, and some olive oil. And then I have this gorgeous roasted garlic that I can squeeze out like that, and it's just going to go right into the dip. So we can actually squeeze it right in, or you can serve it whole on the side, and then people can scoop up some of that wonderful roasted garlic. We have our beautiful olive oil dip with our olives and tomatoes and roasted garlic, and of course our Provence Toma Provence. So this is really great. We've got our focaccia with the local potatoes, and that's going to accentuate this delicious dish. So let's go ahead and cut into it. You can really smell the aroma of the potatoes. So we are just going to cut in a few nice slices. I always think that threes look nice, so I'm going to put 3 together here. We're going to put 3 pieces together here, and we're going to serve it. We'll put 1 piece there, and we're going to serve our dip. So we're going to start making our pavlovas for our dessert today. And I have here some very simple ingredients. I have egg whites, sugar, a pinch of cream of tartar, but you could also use white vinegar instead, and cornstarch. So I'm going to turn this on and get my egg whites until they're nice and foamy. It's going to take just a minute or two until the egg whites start to create a foam. And then we want to take our egg whites until they form soft peaks. This dessert's going to be really fun. We're going to do a pavlova with a cheesecake mousse and fresh strawberries, fresh from the market here on the east coast of Korea. And it's going to be super tasty, very simple, and easy dessert to do at home. Take just a few minutes until we get this to the soft peaks of our egg whites. And then we're going to begin to add our sugar. And that's the most important part of this whole process. We need to make sure that we're adding the sugar very, very slowly, a spoonful at a time. Okay, so when we get our egg whites to soft peaks, let me show you. You don't want these to be too firm, but you need a nice soft peak like this. Once you get them to soft peaks, that's when we're going to begin to add the sugar. So we're going to turn the mixer on high, and we're going to slowly rein in the sugar. Very slowly, a spoonful at a time. I like to pour it in, but I'm also trying to be very careful. You can also take a spoon like this if you feel more confident, and just rein in 1 tablespoon at a time. What we're trying to do is get the sugar to dissolve in the egg whites so that they're nice and smooth without a grainy texture at all. So just 1 spoonful at a time. Don't rush it. You'll be sorry if you rush it, because your meringues won't come out really beautiful. Okay, so that's ready, and that took us a full 5 minutes to add that sugar, but it does seem like a long time, but it's going to be worth it in the end. And now I'm going to mix my cream of tartar and my cornstarch together, and I'm going to add this mixture to my meringue. So I'm just going to sprinkle it over the top, and then I'm going to fold it in. And I want to be careful not to deflate the egg whites. I want it to still be nice and fluffy. But one thing the good news about adding the sugar very slowly is when I take a small amount and I rub it between my fingers, I can't feel any graininess. And that's the key to making a great meringue. We're going to I'm almost ready to plate these meringues now. And here on the baking sheet, I've placed a piece of baking paper. But I don't want the baking paper to move around, so I've got a little technique. I just take a little bit of meringue and put it on the tray, and then secure the baking paper on top. So a little bit of meringue here, right here, on both sides. Now my paper won't move. and I'm going to move it. And then what I like to do is create some nice peaks and domes. So I'm just going to take that spoonful each time and place it on the tray. But the most important thing is that we have a little divot in the middle so that we can fill it with our cheesecake mousse. So this is going to be a strawberry pavlova with a cheesecake mousse, of course, using California cream cheese. And we're going to have these beautiful crispy meringues, cheesecake mousse, and marinated strawberries, which we're going to use the local strawberries, which are going to be so good. We're going to bake these at between 95 and 100 degrees, just until they're totally dry and crisp. And the way that I usually do that is I do it for about an hour and a half at 100 degrees, 95, 100, depending on your oven. And then I like to leave them in the oven until they completely cool. Okay, and so we're ready to take those and take them to the oven. We're using local strawberries from the east coast of Korea. It's perfectly in season. And oh, they're so fresh, they smell so delicious. We're gonna serve those with a cheesecake mousse made from a California cream cheese, California whipping cream. So pretty exciting. And we'll put it all together in a pavlova, an egg white meringue. So this is gonna be really delicious. Let's have a look. We've got cut strawberries here and some sugar. And this is just a really simple way to make a coulis, a pureed strawberry sauce. So let's make sure the lid is on, and we're gonna turn that on. So it's just as simple as that. It's ready to go. Just we want to taste the natural strawberry. Look at how gorgeous that is. We want to taste the natural strawberry. We don't want to be tasting too much sugar or too many fillers. So this is just going to be perfect the way it is. So let's make our macerated strawberries. Actually, these strawberries are so delicious. They're right from the field. They're organic. And so we don't really need to worry about doing too much to add to them. But what I do want to do is create a little bit of a sauce, just a saucy sort of shiny strawberry for the top of our dessert. So I'm going to cut these into quarters, and I prepared some in advance, and we're going to mix those with a little powdered sugar just to give them a shine. So we'll put some powdered sugar on top, and we'll just toss them and set them aside. And you want them to be nice and glossy and shiny, which is why the powdered sugar works really well. Here we go with our California cheesecake mousse. We have really nice cream cheese from California. We're going to turn it on and make sure it's nice and soft. Once that's smooth and creamy, I'm going to add my white chocolate base. So I can see it's nice and smooth and creamy. And I previously made a white chocolate base. And this is white chocolate and heavy whipping cream mixed together with a little bit of sugar and vanilla bean. So we're going to add that to the cream cheese and mix it really well. And I've got a little bit of lemon juice to give it a little bit of a nice acidic tang. So we're going to whip that until it's beautiful and smooth. And what I recommend to do is actually scrape down your mixer a couple of times during the procedure because we don't want any lumps in there. So we'll scrape that down really well. Now that that's nice and smooth, at this point, we're going to fold in our heavy whipped cream. So this is our challenge cream. It's a beautiful product. Look at the nice color, bright white. And so we're just going to fold that right in to make a delicious cheesecake mousse. So it's quite simple. A few steps, but we're going to end up with a gorgeous dessert at the end of all of this. So here we have our cheesecake mousse ready to go. All right, we're ready to plate our dessert. So I'm going to explain my pavlova first. This is just a very simple meringue, egg whites and sugar that has been spooned onto a baking sheet, and we left them in the oven for about 45 minutes at 95 degrees. And then we turned the oven off and left them overnight. So they're quite dry and crispy. And just to make them look a little chic, we're going to add a little grated strawberry on the top, just to make them look quite pretty. And we're ready to plate. Okay, so we're going to put a spoonful of our strawberry coulis in the bottom of the bowl. And then we're going to add our meringue. And just be careful, it's very fragile, but you want to make sure it's placed on the bottom of the dish. And then we're going to put a scoop of our delicious cheesecake mousse. We'll put that right in the middle. And make a little dent because we want something to hold those strawberries. So we just create a little dent there for our beautiful fresh strawberries. Okay, so now look at these, how gorgeous and glossy they've become. And we'll go ahead and put those right on. And don't worry if some fall down onto the dish. It's an old chef's trick that if some fall down, then make it look intentional by dropping a few more around. So now that we have that all ready to go, I'm just going to add a few little fun elements. One is I have a beautiful Turkish cotton candy here. So I'm going to just put a few strands of the Turkish cotton candy on the top. We have a cute little addition, and that is a cow-shaped strawberry cracker. And we're ready to eat our gorgeous local Korean strawberry California cream cheese pavlova. So today we're going to make an East Coast Cali-Korean octopus salad. I'm really excited about this one. We did a great trip to the market this morning. We bought a gorgeous octopus and we cooked the octopus in a kind of a non-traditional way. We just put some mirepoix on the bottom of the pot, some carrots, onions, and celery, and some green onions. And then we placed the octopus on it, put a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on top and a lid, and cooked at a very low temperature, low and slow. So we're pretty excited to be using that octopus today, but we need to start by making a dressing. So I'm going to just make a very simple dressing. A little bit of lemon zest, not too much, we don't want it to be too strong, and a little bit of lemon juice. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of gochugaru, and I'm going to stir that together. I have here a white balsamic vinegar from California, which is kind of fun. A little bit of white vinegar and some extra virgin olive oil. So it's a very simple dressing, just a few ingredients, not too much, and we're just going to let that sit on the side while we start the next project. I have a local potato here, which is the same potatoes that we're using for the focaccia today. And I'm just going to cut that potato into some manageable pieces. And it's okay if it kind of breaks apart. Don't worry about it too much. I like the potato to be a little bit irregular in size, not a strict dice. So we're just going to slide our potatoes that are warm straight into that dressing. As well as that, I'm going to use a little bit of red onion. So I'm just going to do some slices of red onion, thinly sliced. And I'll add that to the potatoes. And I'm going to do a little bit of Persian cucumber. And again, I like to cut it a little bit irregularly. Doesn't need to be cut into beautiful, perfect slices. This is a rustic salad. So we're pretty excited to be cooking this with the local octopus today. And I love potatoes and octopus together. It's a perfect combination. Some green onion. And it's an easy dish to do at home because you can just add this all into the salad in one bowl. I also have here some shaved fennel that I'm going to add. And I have some celery that's been sliced on an angle and then blanched just really quickly and chilled in ice water. I'm going to give those ingredients a little toss through. I just want to be really gentle. I don't want to bang that potato up. And I want to see each ingredient nice and clearly. I have a little bit of green olives. You can add whatever kind of olives you like, but I think olives and octopus are a very nice blend. And some capers, of course, just to add that element of sort of brininess to our salad. Some capers. And I have a little bit of minced garlic, which I'll add as well. So next we're going to think about cooking this beautiful octopus. We cooked the whole octopus earlier, and we've just cut the tentacle off, ready to go. Add a little olive oil to my pan, not too much. And I'm going to place my octopus leg right in the olive oil. The reason I love this salad is a mixture of cold ingredients, the cucumber, the crunchy celery, and the fennel, with warm octopus and warm potatoes. And I think it's just a wonderful match. So let's have a little turn this guy around and get a nice char on it. While that's cooking, I'm just going to shred some of this beautiful local Korean parsley and add that to my salad. And I don't want to add it too early because the vinegar and the acid, the lemon juice, is going to turn it an olive color if I add it too early. And I've also got these wonderful local Getbangpoon greens. Hopefully I said that correctly. These are a local green from the area. Oh, look at that char. That looks delicious. Get a little salt on top of the octopus. And I'm going to add these greens to my salad. I love the look of them. And the flavor is really wonderful. So I always like to try them again. Oh yeah, This is going to be a great blend with the octopus. So we'll just toss that through. It looks pretty and it tastes amazing. I love these purple stems that are on it. Great, so now that we have our beautiful piece of octopus charred and ready to go, I'm gonna do some nice slices of that. And you wanna see that beautiful, look at the interior, it's so white and gorgeous looking. And we also wanna see this lovely octopus, crispy char on the outside. So it just looks so good. I'm very excited, and it's super tender. We had so much fun at the market today purchasing the octopus. So we'll just put that right into the salad, and I'm just gonna cut this last bit up. It's a lot of octopus for that salad, but who doesn't love it? So we'll just spoon that octopus right in and give it just a very gentle toss. Always make sure you taste your ingredients before serving them. So now that we're ready to go with our salad, the flavor is great. If you need to, you can always put a little splash more vinegar or a little splash more olive oil, but I think we've got it right where we need it. And so we're ready to plate this. Want to make sure we can see some of those beautiful pieces of potato and octopus, as well as those really beautiful local greens. I love the mixture of the crunchy celery and fennel, along with this local octopus and these greens. I'm addicted to them, which is too bad because I know we don't have them in California, but it is a really delicious item. It feels so fresh and so natural and from this area, and I'm really excited to use those. And so now we're gonna top it with the California piece, which is our blue cheese from Point Reyes, the Point Reyes Original Blue. This was the cheese that started it all for Point Reyes, and look at that, look how gorgeous that is. Okay, so this is going to go so beautifully with the octopus. It's going to have this really delicious, bright flavor, slight acidity, but richness as well that we just are going to, our love with those local greens and the local octopus. It's really just going to be delightful. So we'll do that. And then I brought a little surprise from California, but it's actually Korean, and it's these crispy little threads of chili, which are not too spicy, but I think that they look so sexy on top of a salad or another item that you want to do it on, and they just always make it look really bright and fresh. So there we have it. That's our gorgeous local octopus and potato salad with our local greens. Get bang pun. So we're going to serve our octopus salad. Doesn't that look great? We're going to make a dirty soda. This is a classic drink in the US. This is a drink that you find in fast food restaurants, in pizza restaurants, but it's gaining popularity. It's actually a drink from the 1950s, but we're going to make a modern version of it, and we're going to make a version of it that has Korean ingredients. So I'm quite excited about this. So it starts by making the foam, and it's going to be quite simple. We're just going to add our challenge heavy whipping cream, and we're going to start whipping that. We'll let it get started, and I'm going to add a little bit of milk and a little bit of vanilla syrup. So once we get that started, after it starts foaming up a little bit, a pinch of salt, a little bit of vanilla syrup, just to sweeten it slightly, and we'll let that go until it starts to create a little bit of soft peaks, and then we're going to add a little bit of milk, just to create a foam that is very small bubbles and with a beautiful flavor, but is a little bit thinner than whipped cream. As I can see it starting to come together, I'm going to add a little bit of milk, and we're going to continue whipping it until we get a nice foam-like consistency. So let's have a look at how the foam is happening right now. We want to make sure that we have this really nice light foam that is easy to pour over the drink. Okay, it's almost there. We're just going to give it another minute or two of whisking, at what point it'll be ready to go. We're going to create a really delicious soda by just adding some ice to these glasses, and then we're going to use some really special ingredients. We have this really nice Korean ingredient. This is called omija, 5-flavor fruit. Omija is a berry native to Korea. I think it's a really interesting berry because it has the flavor of many different fruits all in together. We're going to put some crushed ice into our glass. We're going to add a little splash of lemon juice. And it depends how sweet you like it. So we don't want this to be too sweet. Add a little bit more ice. And now we're going to add our Omija concentrate. It's such a pretty color as well. And then we'll top it off with our soda, or you could use Sprite or soda, but something clear here because we want to see a beautiful color of the Omija. So once we have that there, of course you can add alcohol to this drink if you'd like. Today we're going to make a virgin version. So we're going to spoon our very nice cream on top. And this is what makes it the dirty soda, with this delicious cream topping. So it's a little bit salty, a little bit sweet from the vanilla, and it's got this great creaminess that's gonna go deliciously with that fruit. And now I brought with me a few dried strawberries, and I think that always looks nice on top, and that'll add a little bit of a fruitiness to it. And then you can garnish it however you like. I've got some of these really pretty, very small miniature roses. We'll just add a couple of those. And we have a nice little coin here with our logo on it. And then we have a really fun cow print straw that we'll just add to the glass just to make it look dairy forward. And there we have our delicious dirty soda made with Korean Omija. We're gonna make a really great Korean Californian market pancake today. This is a dish you can eat for lunch, you can eat it for dinner, you can actually even eat it for breakfast. It's very healthy, it's mostly based on vegetables, and today we're going to be using some special Korean vegetables from the market. So let's get started. It's pretty simple to make. I've got a beautiful pile right here of shredded cabbage, and I'm going to do some other shredded vegetables today. So we're going to do some shredded cabbage, some shredded carrot, onion, red onion and green onion, and we're going to do some fresh corn, and any vegetables that you feel like adding to this dish are very appropriate. So we'll do our carrot first. We want a nice fine shred because this pancake needs to cook in the pan, and so it doesn't have a lot of time to cook, so make sure that your vegetables are sliced very thinly. You can use a machine to do it, or you can use your trusty knife. I like to use the knife because then I can see what's happening and get it the right thickness. So we've got some nice shredded cabbage here, shredded carrot as well, and I'm just going to add that straight to the bowl. Let's do some red onion. And we're going to do some thinly sliced green onion, but you can use any fresh vegetables that you find at the market. So we had a great time at the market today, finding all sorts of delicious items, and we found some really beautiful castor aralia, and we're going to use that also, a marinated version of that, to add to the top of our pancake. So let's have a look at what we've got here. We've got carrot, cabbage, red onion, green onion. So this is bacon, ginger, and garlic that I've already sauteed. So we'll just mix that in. And now we need to make a batter that's going to pull all of this together. Let's go ahead and add that corn. And I always like to add a little drizzle of sesame oil here, some gochugaru, and some salt. And just mix that together. And you can mix that together in advance and just leave it to sit for a little while if you want. But right now we're going to actually make our batter. So I'm going to take an egg, one of our gorgeous local eggs, the blue egg, and I'm just going to whisk that together. And I'm going to add a little bit of our broth. This is a nice anchovy broth. We're just going to drizzle a little bit of that in. A very simple batter. We have some flour, baking powder, sugar, and salt. And I like to give that a little whisk just so that it's combined here. And then we're going to add it into our batter, stirring it through. Super simple. At this point, we're going to take our vegetables with our batter and just mix the two items together. And you want just enough batter to coat the vegetables without making them completely soggy. So I always start with just a little bit at first, making sure I have the right amount. And you can see it's still a little bit dry. So let's go ahead and add the rest of that batter. So we have here today, we have two of our famous cheeses. We have Monterey-Jack, which, we love Monterey-Jack. It's got a really nice creamy flavor. And we just need enough for one pancake. So I'm going to give it a nice little dose of, this is mozzarella. We have some fresh mozzarella. And here we have Monterey-Jack. But this is a special kind of jack. This is pepper jack. And it has fresh chilies added to it, which I think that people in Korea are going to love because I know we like everything a little spicy here. So we're going to have a little bit of pepper jack and a little bit of mozzarella. And now it's time to put our vegetable batter in. So I'm going to take about half of my batter and I'm just going to place it in the pan. You can make it a circle or you can make it into an oval. I kind of like an oval shape, but it can also be a circle, either way. And we're just going to add our cheese on top of that. So I'm just going to mix my cheeses together and I'm going to add a really nice big handful of cheese. When this pancake is cooked, we want to pull the pancake out and have a nice crispy exterior and a molten delicious cheese interior. So at this point, I'm going to add the rest of my vegetable pancake mix on top of the cheese. Try to be careful to cover it. I'd like to make sure that it's covering all of the cheese so that the cheese doesn't leak out into the pan. And then we're going to cook this very carefully so that we don't burn one side of it. So I always like to just pull the sides in a little bit as I'm working on this. And I've got kind of an oval shape going on here, but you can make it whatever shape you like and press down just a little bit on the pancake so that it solidifies and it holds together. We're just going to put a lid on top of that pan and turn it to the lowest setting we can manage. So now we've got this gorgeous pancake, which is looking golden, and we're just going to top it with a little bit of cheese just in the middle, and we'll pop that lid back on again just to get the cheese to melt a little bit. Oh, look, it's gorgeous. Our beautiful pancake, cheesy Korean market pancake. Let's pop it on our plate. Oh, that looks great. Enough to serve 2 hungry people, or maybe 4 as an appetizer. And now we're going to just finish it with a few sauces. So I have, of course, gochujang. So we also have a tonkatsu sauce. Oh yes, that's going to be delicious. Okay, a little bit of mayonnaise. And then we're going to top it with our marinated castor aralia, this beautiful local vegetable. Oh, I really love this veggie, and it has a great taste. So we're going to top it with that, loosen it nicely, and this just says spring vegetables to me. Finish with a little bit of gochujang for color, a little bit of spiciness. So let's have a look at this beautiful pancake and see that all these great vegetables and this cheesy filling. Oh yes, look at that. See this beautiful cheese. Oh yeah, that looks so tasty, and all those veggies inside. We're going to do a cacio e pepe from California with Korean ingredients today. This is going to be a really fun dish. Cacio e pepe is a classic dish involving pecorino romano and Parmesan cheese. But today we're going to use 2 of our very special cheeses from California, Point Reyes Toma and Parmesan. So we're going to get started with some California butter into a pan, and we're just going to let that melt. This is a very rich dish, but if you have those flavors of California dairy in there with the Korean ingredients, I think you're going to be so surprised at how deliciously they go together. So I've got some butter here, and I'm going to add some sesame oil for a little bit of a Korean flavor. And then a very special ingredient that I love, which is samjang. This is going to be the umami bomb that we're looking for in our cacio e pepe. So I'm just going to stir in my samjang. I'm going to turn my heat to low. I want to smell that aromatic samjang flavor with our California butter. It's going to be so delicious. We'll add some gochugaru to give it a little zip, and we'll just start to cook that until it becomes a nice homogeneous sauce that we're going to add our pasta to. Now, normally it's done with spaghetti, but we're actually going to use orzo today for something different. And I have some orzo right here that I'm going to add. It's been cooked already. So this is an easy one to do at home. And when I cook the orzo, one of the most important things for cacio e pepe, just get a lot of pasta starch into the water and then save the water. So here I have my starchy pasta water, and I'm gonna add it here back to the orzo. I need to see a little sauce in the bottom of the pan, and we'll give it a stir. And look at the color already, it looks amazing. So while this is coming up to a simmer, give it a little more water. You want to see a little bit of sauce in there. That's what's going to help our cheese melt into a gorgeous, delicious sauce. All right, oh, it smells already like Korea to me, so I'm gonna be very happy with this one. All right, you could also add the addition of kimchi here, could be quite tasty. I'm going to grate some toma, grate our toma cheese, and I can see it starting to come to a simmer. And I'm going to use the toma cheese with some of our Parmigiano. This is a California Parmesan. It isn't true Parmesan from Parmigiano in Italy, but I think it has a great flavor with 100% California milk. So we're going to add the cheese into our pasta water. And now I have to be very careful to stir the dish so that the pasta melts, the cheese melts into the pasta without splitting. It's quite simple to do, providing you save that starchy pasta water. You can see it coming together here now, nice and creamy. And I'm gonna add a little bit more of our California Parmesan just towards the end. And of course, we always want to be careful to taste this and make sure we have the right balance of spice and creamy cheese. One thing I love about California cheese, and I've been finding this all over the world, that California cheese blends so well with global flavors. It's amazing that we can take something Korean, something that normally doesn't have cheese in it, and create a classic, almost Italian, Cal-Italian dish, but with a Korean flavor. So this is going to be very exciting. We're going to serve this with some beef, and you can see now, see how the cheese is melting in there, and you're getting some nice strandy, and that's coming from the toma and the Parmesan together within there. So we just want to keep cooking that a little bit. I'm going to turn my heat up just a touch until the whole thing is simmering. Smells so good. Let's make it even a little more Korean with the addition of some green onion and some, of course, roasted sesame seed. And you can see that it's come to a simmer now, so I'm going to turn it off. Oh, looks so good and smells delicious. So we have Hanu beef, the famous Korean beef, and this is going to be so delicious. It's been seared super lightly in with a little olive oil, salt, and pepper. And we're going to carve the steak, and tender. It's so tender. Can't wait to try this with our cacio e pepe. I think the flavors of samjang is a very interesting ingredient that I was introduced to a couple of years ago here in Korea, and I've been using it a lot. I love the flavor of the umami, and when it blends with the cheese rounds it out really well, and you end up with this really delicious, highly craveable pasta dish. So quite excited to serve this today. So we'll put some of our cacio pepe in the bottom of our dish. It's a little messy to serve because of that beautiful strandy melted cheese. Look at that, it looks so gorgeous. And we'll sprinkle a little more green onion and a little bit of sesame seed. And then I'm going to place my beef just in on the side. So I want to see that beef beautiful like that. We're just going to place the beef here, and I'm going to place that nice fresh thyme back on the beef because it looks so great. And then we'll add a little shredded gim. And there we have a beautiful, easy to make, super quick to make, delicious cheesy cacio e pepe with Korean beef.